All right, let's get into it, Chiefs Kingdom. Now that the 2025 NFL Draft is in the books, it's time to unpack what just happened. And most importantly, answer your biggest questions. This is our first post-draft mailbag, and man, you came ready. From draft picks to trade buzz and everything in between, there's a lot to cover. So let's dive right into the fan takes and speculation that are lighting up the kingdom right now. First up, we've got a hilarious but legit nickname brewing, Slimin' Sam. Called Jeffrey Bassa the crime boss and the dime. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's catchy, it fits his vibe. And let's be honest, Bassa could end up being a sneaky weapon on this defense. He's not going to be a day one starter, but I can see Spags using him as a third down coverage linebacker. He brings something different, something Nick Bolton just doesn't offer in the passing game. Picture this, it's 3rd and 7, and you've got Bassa out there instead of Bolton, keeping up with tight ends or even sneaking into a blitz package. That's the kind of role I could see for him. He's versatile, instinctive, and frankly, he could end up being one of those guys who makes a much bigger impact than people expect. Here's a question for you. Do you think Jeffrey Bassa should play in third down coverage situations over Nick Bolton? Let me know in the comments. Type Bassa if you're down to see him in that specialist role, or Bolton if you still trust our guy Nick to handle it all. And hey, if you're enjoying the breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you're part of the Noti Gang, type Noti Gang in the comments so I know you're riding with us. Alright, that's just the start. The mailbag is heating up. Next, we got some spicy trade talk coming your way. Let's talk trades, Chiefs fans. Because the NFL draft might be over, but Brett Veach's phone is never off. You've been asking in the comments, are the Chiefs done adding players? Could a trade still be on the table? And the short answer is absolutely. Look, we know Veach is aggressive. This guy traded up in the first round to snag Josh Simmons when he saw the value. So don't be surprised if the Chiefs make another move before training camp. Whether it's for a veteran wide receiver or an edge rusher, the door's wide open. One name that's floating around, Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, we're going there again. The 49ers haven't signed him long term, and if they decide to move on, Veach is the type to make that call. And don't forget, Kansas City still has cap space flexibility after restructuring Travis Kelce's deal, so the money could work if they wanted to. But there's another angle here. What if the Chiefs trade from their roster? Guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or even Joshua Kendo could be moved for late round picks or used to sweeten a deal. This team has depth in certain areas, and Veach could absolutely flip that into talent where we need it more, like wide receiver or backup, offensive tackle. Here's a poll for you. If the Chiefs make a trade before the season, where should they focus? Wide receiver, edge rusher, offensive line depth. Don't trade, we're good. Drop your answer in the comments and let me know, who's your dream trade target for the Chiefs? Bottom line, Brett Veach doesn't rest, and neither should we. This roster could still see a shakeup, so keep your notifications on because if something breaks, you'll hear it here first. Now let's shift gears and talk about the draft class itself. Did the Chiefs just pull off one of the most underrated drafts in the league? Alright, Chiefs fans, we gotta dive into the draft class. Because while the big names get all the attention, some of the real value could be lurking in the later rounds. You've already heard about Josh Simmons and his potential to anchor that offensive line for years, but what about the other guys? Let's break it down. First up, let's talk about Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker. Now, I know he's not going to be the starter right away, but hear me out. Bassa's role could be exactly what Kansas City needs on passing downs. We all know Nick Bolton is a beast, but his coverage isn't exactly his strong suit. That's where Bassa comes in. Imagine him on third downs taking the field and locking up those running backs and tight ends that Bolton sometimes struggles with. It's a perfect fit for Spags' defense. Now, don't get too excited yet. Bassa's not likely to make waves in his rookie year. But if the Chiefs find themselves in a pinch during the season, don't be surprised if we see him get more snaps. Speaking of defensive depth, there's another guy who might just turn heads. Ashton Gelati, the edge rusher. I'll be honest, I wasn't thrilled with the pick at first. The guy's sack numbers weren't spectacular last season, but he was still putting pressure on quarterbacks, which is something we can work with. Gelati's a project, no doubt, but if Brett Veach and Spags see something in him, we've got to trust the process. And honestly, with a little development, we could have another diamond in the rough. But enough about individual players. Let's talk about the bigger picture. This class could end up being underrated. The Chiefs didn't make any flashy picks, but when you've got a GM like Veach, the little moves add up. Look at past drafts. He's turned late round picks into key contributors. If this class even comes close to living up to that, we could be looking at a real value haul from 2025. Before we move on, let me ask you, which rookie are you most excited to see in action this season? Josh Simmons, Jeffrey Bassa, Ashton Gelati, other. Drop your pick in the comments. Stay tuned. We've got one more question to tackle before we wrap up. Now, let's talk about some trade rumors swirling around, because you know the Chiefs front office is always looking to make a move if the right opportunity presents itself. Recently, we've heard whispers about two big names in the pass rush game, Trey Hendrickson and Jadeveon Clowney. So should the Chiefs trade for one of these guys? Let's break it down. Let's start with Trey Hendrickson. The guy has been a beast for the Cincinnati Bengals over the past couple of seasons, racking up 17.5 sacks in just the last 2 years alone. But here's the situation. The Bengals seem like they're going to have a tough time reaching a deal with him, and he's reportedly looking for more money than they're willing to pay. Now, as much as I'd love to see Hendrickson in Kansas City, there's one big problem. He plays for a division rival, and the Chiefs don't usually trade within the division. Can you imagine Hendrickson wreaking havoc on the Chiefs' offense if he went to the Baltimore Ravens or another AFC team? Yeah, no thanks. That said, it's not completely out of the question. Maybe, just maybe, Hendrickson's time with the Bengals comes to an end, and the Chiefs can swoop in if he's let go. But the trade? It's looking unlikely at best. We'll just have to wait and see how things shake out. Now, let's talk about Jadeveon Clowney. Unlike Hendrickson, Clowney is not tied to a massive contract, and he's coming off a decent season with the Carolina Panthers despite playing on one of the worst teams in the league. With 5.5 sacks last year and another solid season the year before in Baltimore, Clowney could be a more affordable option for the Chiefs. The Panthers are in rebuild mode, and Clowney's $7 million contract could make him available for the right price. Maybe even for just a 7th round pick. Now that's a steal. And let's not forget, pass rushers are always in demand, especially when the Chiefs are looking to build around a strong defense. Clowney may not be the superstar he was supposed to be after being drafted number 1 overall, but he's still a serviceable player who could come in and contribute right away. What do you think, Chiefs fans? Would you trade for Clowney if the opportunity arose? Type Y for yes or N for no. Let me know in the comments. If the Chiefs do pull off a trade, will it be the right fit? Stick around because we've got one more question to answer in the final chapter. Alright, Chiefs Kingdom, we've talked about potential trades and new signings, but now let's bring it all together and look at how the Chiefs are shaping up for the future. After the 2025 NFL Draft, we know there are still some important decisions to make when it comes to the roster. We've got some key players to consider and maybe a few who could be on the outs. First, let's talk about the Chiefs running backs, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Now we know that Pacheco's had some injury issues in the past, and Hunt's been a bit up and down. So should the Chiefs bring them both back for another year? Personally, I think it's a wait-and-see situation. Let's see if Pacheco can get back to full health and show he's the same back we saw in his rookie season. As for Hunt, well, we all know what he can do. But is he still that guy who can come in and contribute consistently? The key here is year-by-year decisions. No long-term contracts for these guys. Let's see how the season plays out. If Pacheco stays healthy and Hunt shows flashes of what he used to be, then sure, let's talk about a new deal. But if not, the Chiefs can move on without much risk. Then there's Carson Steele, who's on the bubble. After that fumbling issue, it looks like he might not make the roster. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on the practice squad, just in case there's an injury down the line. But honestly, that's the nature of the NFL. Perform or get left behind. Finally, we can't forget about the big quarterback question. Mahomes, will 2025 be his best season yet? We've seen what he can do, winning MVP twice, but it's hard to top those 50-plus touchdown seasons. I don't think Mahomes will match his MVP year statistically. But hey, if there's anyone who could do it, it's him. He's still the best quarterback in the league, and with Travis Kelce still in the mix, The Chiefs offense is in great hands. So, as we wrap this up, what do you think? Are you confident the Chiefs can pull off some key moves and bring in the right players to keep the championship window wide open? Or do you think the roster is already set? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who stays and who goes? This has been your breakdown of all the latest Chiefs news, trades, and draft. Talk! Thanks for joining me, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future updates. Until next time, Chiefs Kingdom, stay strong.